You're listening to the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. Now here's your hosts, Kevin, Derek, and Alex.
Alrighty, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. I am joined by Chris at Detroit Beastie here on the Sunday pregame here, doing everything we can to help you guys bring in some cash and some trophies today in Week 17. And for most of y'all, that is championship week here for your season-long formats, and it's always time for cash and trophies in Chris's favorite guilty little pleasure there in DFS. So, Chris, how you doing today?
I'm great. I was going to send out a tweet last night, but I didn't know how well it would be taken. I was just going to say, I'm out of sorts. Is it Sunday? Is it Saturday? Is it Friday? I mean, to be honest with you, Derek, I haven't worked in 10 days. I took the rest of the year off of work, all well and good. I got a bunch of paid time. In the last 4 or 5 days, I've told a few folks, I've been a little bit under the weather. It's not COVID, just your old school stuffy nose kind of exhaustion. Your whole body is achy. So I've been in and out of bed on the couch, eating and doing my thing. But so in turn, haven't had to set any alarms, haven't been getting up for work, no work meetings. So to me, the last 5 or 6 days have just gone by in a blur, right? And again, no illegal substances in my system. So when I say it's a blur, it's not like I was blacked out, but it's just that weird 5 or 6 days after Christmas leading up to New Year's, there's really nothing going on. So here we are, Sunday. I woke up yesterday and I thought it was Thursday. I woke up this morning and thought it was Saturday. So I got to get my head in the game here. And all jokes aside, I'm ready to rock for Week 17.
Absolutely. It should be a good one here. Week 17 coming down the stretch. It's going to be very, very interesting. Some of these matchups, some of the spreads were very interesting. Some of the lines were. You can see where Vegas really thinks that some of these teams are just kind of packing it in and hoping to just get through the next couple of games here without injury, without a lot of those kind of things, so that folks can just make it to the finish line of this season. So very interesting as far as these game spreads have come through. The college football season over this last week has given us a lot of really good games here. We've seen some of the conference play really kind of step up, some other conferences really not step up. So it's been a pretty good overall, not necessarily NFL slate of games here, but the college bowl season has given us a few interesting ones here. And, for some interesting banter back and forth as well about should a player opt out, should a player not opt out, all of that nonsense, quite frankly. The same thing that we say when these NFL players come to free agency, get the bag, right? Look after you and look after your family and get the bag. So, yeah.
I've never, Kirk Herbstreit, he's been on College Game Day for a long time. I believe he played quarterback at Ohio State.
He did.
Nothing special. And he's always been like a weasel in my mind. It has a lot to do with, him playing at Ohio. I don't like that school. I don't like the entire state of Ohio, to be honest. No offense to anybody, from Ohio that's watching this right now. But Herbstreit's always been a weasel to me. I mean, he seems like never anything profound to say. He'll never go out on a limb and just give his opinion. He'll never just speak from the heart. He's never open and honest with folks. He's just a weasel to me. So when he was saying, I know what you're getting at, where, bowl games, and even Desmond Howard said it, and I'm a big Michigan Desmond Howard fan, but I don't agree with what Howard said either. But then you get Herbstreit piling in on that about players. Bowl games are just not important to them if it's not the college football playoff game. And you go back, I'm in my mid to late 30s, and the Rose Bowl they still call it the granddaddy of them all. You worked your whole college career to play in a Rose Bowl, and now to play in a Fiesta Bowl, Sugar Bowl, any of those games. So to say these kids, the bowl game is meaningless to them if it's not in a playoff or the national championship, I don't think that's the case. I mean, there is a certain level of importance to this. Let's be honest. The media in Fox and CBS, they place the importance on that. These are the college football games. These are going to be highlighted and on the 31st, and then the New Year's Day bowl games. There is a definite order of importance to the bowl games, and now these kids are opting out because they're looking to move on to the next level. And hey, if I was a fifth round draft prospect, sure, I'd play. What do I have to lose? But a guy like Kenneth Walker or Kenny Pickett, these dudes are going to be first, maybe early second round selections, and we're talking a difference of probably $7 to $10 million as the rounds kind of progress here. So them, opting out, it's all good. They played in the Big Ten or like Pitt and Kenny Pickett here. I have no issue with it, but to call it like that, these kids don't care. I mean, that's all they've known literally since they were kids. Play football, run the football, get strong, get fast, so you can play at the next level. You'd be kidding yourself if you interviewed one of these kids and they would not say, yeah, since I was a small boy, wherever, in Michigan, Georgia, California, I always take the ball in the backfield as a boy, acting like I was playing in the Super Bowl, acting like I was in the NFL. So if Kenneth Walker or, as I said, Kenny Pickett want to opt out in favor of their NFL draft, capital, then who am I to buy? I mean, I'm not in their shoes. Everybody is always good at judging other folks. I've never played in the NFL. I'm not that good of an athlete. I'm not, lightning fast. So someone like a weasel, like Kirk Herbstreit, who I believe was even a backup at Ohio State, to talk that way, he's a dummy. He's a weasel, and he's never said anything, open and honest from the heart. He's always picking out from other people, Lee Corso and all that. So he's not original. So Kirk Herbstreit can see you.
Yeah, it's always interesting watching these things, right? And you bring up Herbstreit, you bring up Desmond Howard. Well, it's interesting too to see the mindset of some of those folks that played before that, because of the fact when those guys were playing, even though they might have been playing for national championships, things like that, there wasn't this extended season that these guys had to play with, right?
True.
Like back when these guys played, a long season, including your bowl game, was 12, maybe 13 games. Now for you to get to a national championship, you got to play 15 games anymore.
No doubt.
And in a lot of cases, there was a lot of those seasons that were 10 games, and your bowl game was the 11th game on there. So you're now adding on 4 or 5 more games per year for a lot of these kids to be able to make it through the minefield that is the NCAA there.
And not getting paid a dime. Right? If they're in the NFL, they'll play 35 games in a row, but they're making good money. They're making a living this way. So to me, it's always been, I don't think I've ever shared this with anybody, but it's pretty clear here, these bowl games and even, MLB and NHL, the playoffs and college football, it's all about TV, right? Mm-hmm. If the Fox network calls the Rose Bowl and says, hey, we want you to start the game, we want kickoff to be at 11:30 at night, then the Rose Bowl would do it. They fall in line because it's all about ad revenue. It's all about money. They do as the broadcast, says they're going to do. And now you look all these bowl games, it's kind of lost its luster. It's like the coffee Frito Bandito Rochester, Sugar Bowl. There's like 17 different things that you have to say, endorsements before. Why can't it just be the Sugar Bowl? Now it's the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Great, good. Those chips are great here, but there's like 17 monikers in advance of it, which just goes to show you without that advertising, without that ad revenue, these bowl games would be nothing. So to fault a kid for wanting to sit out to make money, that's what they've been, predisposed their whole life. I mean, I have no judgment to anybody that wants to sit out because of that. And when you look at someone like Matt Corral, he hurt his leg. Yeah, he was carted off yesterday. And to be honest with you, I haven't heard what it's about, if it's anything bad or if it's something he can get over pretty quick and heal. But Matt Corral is without a doubt going to be a top 10, overall draft selection at quarterback. So you're looking at $25 to $35 million guaranteed. And he plays in the bowl because he's at Ole Miss. He loves the college. He loves playing quarterback. And has he screwed himself out of, life-changing money? I don't know, but it's just how it is there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of those two that you talk about, Howard and Herbstreit there. They have a vested interest in these guys playing more so than opted out because of the fact that they work for ESPN, and ESPN I think had all but one of the bowl games televised on it. So they have a very vested interest in the players and the stars playing and trying to make those games as good as they can. And so for a lot of these guys to come out and give that take, it's it's a little one-sided and not necessarily looking at the full narrative.
And Derek, who knows if it was even real? Who even knows if that was, open and honest from the heart? Nowadays, these pregame shows, it's all scripted. To me, what they did the other day with Howard and Kirk Herbstreit, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm a nobody, and here we are spending the first 10 minutes of Sunday morning talking about it. So, job well done. You achieved what you wanted to do, right? And so to talk like that, it's just a weird move, and I don't really care. And again, all these pregame shows, it's just like WWE. Everything is scripted, and they have a storyline, and they're trying to paint a picture with their production, with what their on-air talent says. So does Kirk and Desmond Howard really believe that? Who knows? They all wear earpieces. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy, but who's to say some guy wasn't in Kirk Herbstreit's ear telling him what to say, because Herbstreit is such a weasel. He would say anything. He'd read that. You could trick him with a teleprompter and say, "Hi, I'm a dummy," and he would read it because he's such a robot and he's such a weasel. So again, it's all scripted. It's like WWF. So what are you gonna do?
You know what's not scripted? This show. So
No.
let's we give you heart straight from the or take straight from the heart here. We do have a question coming in. Let's go ahead and hit this question. Then we're going to get into our slate of games that Chris and I want to talk about. Waddle or Lamb this week? That is going to be a tough question that I think a lot of folks are going to have here down the stretch. What are your thoughts here?
Well, it's odd to me. I wonder if this is the Nate we all know and love from Sons of Dynasty here. I don't know, but if it is, hi, Nate. But Waddle and Lamb, first thing I think of is it's weird to me that you can't get both guys in your starting lineup, given all the injuries and given all the hoopla and COVID stuff. If you can't start both of them, then that's a weird thing. Who do you have better at wide receiver or flex that you're going to start over these two studs? Because these are two of the best up-and-coming young wide receivers in the game here. But to go over it, I have Waddle 9-10 targets, 7-8 receptions, well over 75 yards. Kid averages just shy of 10 yards a reception here. And then when you look at Lamb in a Dallas game, I believe they're at home against Arizona, high-flying here. I have Lamb for just about an identical stat line, 9-10 targets, 6-7 receptions, 75 to 85 yards here. He averages 13.6 yards a pop here. So of the two, I would go Lamb. I mean, I'm confident in starting Lamb over Waddle here, but it's nuts. And you have Kupp as your wide receiver one. Well, I would start all three of them in favor of a guy like in your running back flex spot. I would imagine you're looking at a guy like Melvin Gordon, Jordan Howard, Rex Burkhead. I don't know, but I would do everything in my power, Nate, to get all three of those wide receivers active and ready to go for it today.
Yeah, he does have Kupp as his wide receiver one. So I'm right there with you. There's not many guys in the flex that you're gonna be able to name that I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, you got to start them over Lamb or Waddle there. And when I look at my own rankings here, I have CeeDee Lamb as the 12th receiver this week. I have Jalen Waddle as the 11th receiver, and they were separated out by about 4 yards when I was projecting this thing. So I'm right there with you. We're talking, less than a point difference that I see going through this one. So if it's me, I'm probably going with Waddle, but CD is, I see more points coming in that Dallas game.
Yeah.
So if you want to start CD, I'm all for it.
Well, Nate,
frankly, Boomer sooner.
Nate, if you want to put hair on your chest, then sit Kupp and start Waddle and Lamb and see what it got going. Get a sweat rolling today.
So not advising that one.
No.
Not advising that one. So no, it'll be a good one. Thanks for the question, Nate. Always enjoy seeing you in the chat. And looks like you've got a little bit of differing opinion there from Chris and I between Waddle and Lamb. But for the most part, I think both of us would find a way to get him into our.
So we literally were of no help to him. I said Lamb and you said Waddle, and I said Lamb, you said Waddle, and then I said just fade Kupp and make it easy. So he got no help. I mean it was bad news.
Well, I'll go on the opposite side. Don't fade Kupp.
No, absolutely not. Just obviously, I'm kidding. I'm not that big of a dummy.
So, Nate, hopefully that helps you out there. At least you got some viewpoints there from Chris and I. Maybe that helps make your decision there. So another question coming in, guys, Philadelphia or Chicago? I would believe you're talking about the defense and special teams. So that's how I'm going to answer this one. I'm probably going to lean towards Philadelphia in this one, but it is close.
No, to me, it's Philly, and it's not close. I think Philadelphia just blows the doors off of Washington. I could see Philadelphia scoring like 30-plus points and only giving up 10 or so to the Washington football team. And in terms of the Chicago and New York Giants game, both teams are awful, but I have, the Giants putting up somewhat of a fight in the finals, like 27-20 there. So to me, it is absolutely the Philadelphia Eagles against a Washington team who's in disarray. I mean, they're fist fighting each other on the sideline here. So give me the Eagles there. At home, I believe, too. They're in Washington. Yeah,
they're in Washington. I see the Eagles getting more turnovers in this one. The Bears, I think, are just going to – the Giants bad offense at this point in the year. I don't think that they're going to put up many points, but I think that it's going to hinge on the fact that Philadelphia is going to get a couple of turnovers in this one, and that's going to swing the scoring there as well. Because I see the Giants and the Washington football team putting up similar-ish points this week there as well. So that's where it's at for me. Chris, I know that we've been talking and lots of talking here, and we have yet to get to any of our games that we want to highlight here. So let's go ahead and have you take us to your first matchup here. Where do you want to take us to?
Sure, let's go to Foxborough, and we'll talk about the New England Patriots hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. And instead of waiting till the end, I'm just going to let folks know the way I'm weaving this today. I love New England, I love Tampa Bay, and I love San Francisco. All three games I'm choosing are going to be no-brainers. All three games are going to be one-sided. So let's start with the New England Patriots. They're hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars, as I've said. They're giving Jacksonville 16.5 points. Get this, though. Over-under is about 41.5. It opened there, it stayed there, and they're giving Jacksonville 16.5 here. So you got to think that the over is going to come in pretty easily in this one if you're already spotting a team, damn near 17 points. So you're just about 20% on the way there towards the over-under. In this one, in seasonal formats, you look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, I would imagine today there will be little to no Jacksonville Jaguars on any winning fantasy football championship teams. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, I've gone down a rabbit hole with him, and this guy, I believe he's on pace for like 2 touchdown passes. I believe he only threw 1 touchdown pass last month altogether. And you look at the Patriots, they're first overall against opposing quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville doesn't have a chance. I know a lot of folks are, they're scratching down the walls here because they got nobody to play. James Robinson is out, so you're stuck with Dare Ugambalawi, I've said his name 17 different times before we went live here, but I want nothing to do with Dare in seasonal formats, even in DFS formats. No, thank you. So you're left with like Marvin Jones, Laquan Treadwell, Vishka has been a massive disappointment here. And look, New England Patriots are 5th overall against opposing wide receivers. There is little to no room for Jacksonville to do anything of note here. I think Jacksonville struggles to put up 10 points here. The max I could see Jacksonville scoring in this one is literally 13 points. So when you look at the Patriots side of things, I have them putting up 30 plus points in this one. Mac Jones, he's been an awesome rookie quarterback. Granted, it's been more of a game management system, but hey, that still counts. He's a rookie in a great system. So when you look at Damien Harris looks to play, Ramondre Stevenson looks to play, I'm all hands off the wide receivers, especially in the importance of a fantasy football championship here. But in DFS formats, I'm all in on Ramondre Stevenson, $5,700 on FanDuel, on DraftKings, only $5,300. And when you look down the line here in terms of the Jacksonville Jaguars overall defense and their specific DVP here, defensive versus player here, it's all green. They're 24th against wide receivers, 16th against tight ends, 21st against quarterbacks here. So I could see a case here where Mac Jones does just enough early on in this game where he throws 220-ish yards, a couple touchdown passes, and bam, you're off and running. And then in DFS formats, we're ready to use Damien Harrison or Stevenson in just like a mop-up role in the second half here. So to me, in all honesty, I would take the New England Patriots minus 16.5 points here. Again, I think they win by 20 plus points here. So Jacksonville Jaguars, hands off. You didn't need me to tell you that. New England Patriots, pick and choose, mainly Mac, Stevenson, and Harris.
I like it. I also saw the Patriots winning by 20 in this one as well. So I like that one. And I think you're right. I think this one's going to be a kind of just a bloodbath from the beginning, and it's not going to be pretty or fun to watch unless you're a very heavy New England fan. Like that's the one that you're excited to actually watch that game. The rest of us are going, please put a different game on the channel here. So I'm going to go ahead and take us over to Cincinnati, where the Kansas City Chiefs are coming to town. The Chiefs favored by 4.5 in this one. Over under is 50.5. And I think that this one gets into a bit of a shootout here between Kansas City and Cincinnati here. I do like several different plays in this one for guys. Obviously Kansas City, start your studs, right? Like Kelsey, Hill, Mahomes, you don't need me to tell you that. It's championship week. Go out there, start your guys, and start your studs in this one. I think this one's going to be right around about 30-24 when it's all said and done. So I do think the Kansas City wins. I think that they put up a bunch of points here. I'm staying away from Kansas City running backs in this one. Clyde Edwards-Helaire still carrying I don't think that we're going to see a great workload from him. So I think we're going to see a little bit of a split between him and Williams. Either way, I'm staying away from that one. I think Joe Mixon actually has a pretty good game in this one where Cincinnati's going to game plan a little bit to try and get him heavily involved. Lots of workload opportunities, try and run the clock, keep the Chiefs offense off the field a little bit. So I like Mixon quite a bit in this one, but I also really like the pass catchers here from Cincinnati. T. Higgins, who just coming off a monster game. Jamar Chase coming off a monster game. Joe Burrow coming off the highest passing yards we've seen on the season yet this season. And I think we're going to see some of that play out here as well. So I like a lot of my Cincinnati players here, and I'm going to play every one of them that I've got. The only one I might fade a little bit is T. Higgins here. I don't think that he's going to get that big, long play that he's gotten over the last couple of weeks to be fantasy relevant there. But that's really probably the only Cincinnati pass catcher that I'm going to be fading down the stretch here. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, this is anybody playing in this game I'm starting. The over-under right now, I believe, is at 49.5, which doesn't seem that high, but I have the final score just being monstrous. I have Kansas City putting up 42 points. And again, I have Cincinnati putting up 35-plus points. So you're going to want any and all, anything and everything from this game you're going to want in on, and we can move on. One thing I will say, Derek Gore is very much on my radar in DFS formats. 5,500 on FanDuel, only $5,100 on DraftKings here. Gore playing a Cincinnati DST who is 16th overall against opposing running backs. We know Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not going to be playing today, so everyone's going to flock towards Darrell Williams, and rightfully so. This guy can carry the load if you need it, so no harm there. But again, mind you, this is DFS format. I like to be a little bit different, so I'm pivoting from players in the same game to players in the same game, if that makes sense. So get in on Darrell Williams all you want. I'm going to come in the back door with Derek Gore. Didn't know that was going to rhyme there.
I like it. All righty. Chris, where do you want to take us for your next one?
Well, we're close anyway, so we're in New England and Foxborough. Let's go to East Rutherford. I believe that's where the Jets play. They share a stadium with the New York Giants. Both teams are not good. So let's talk about Tampa Bay at the Jets. Another bloodbath, as I said at the beginning of the broadcast. I'm taking it easy peasy today. Look, folks, we were going hard for 17, 18 weeks now, and in the summer. I'm tired. I want to rest. I want to take it easy. So let's talk about another blowout, another one-sided game. I can sip my coffee while you talk, and we'll move on from there. When it comes to Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, Ronald Jones is the darling in DFS formats this afternoon. $6,300 on DraftKings, only $7,000 on FanDuel. This guy's going to get all the work he can carry here, and rightfully so. He's very cheap. When you look at the DVP here, the Jets dead last against opposing running backs here. Now be mindful of the wide receivers here. Obviously, Godwin is out. We wish him the best here, and it just came down about an hour or two ago that Mike Evans and Antonio Brown are more than likely to play. Granted, Evans is going to be playing limited snaps here, but that's been one of, if not the most highest question I've been asked so far this weekend and today. What do I do with Mike Evans? I got Mike Evans, or Michael Pittman. Which way do you go? I'm just going to say it now. If Mike Evans is active, he's going to be in my starting roster, given the matchup, given how late in the season it is. Tom Brady is a robot. He wants to get things going. He wants to have things fall in line. Not an OCD thing, but they want to work the kinks out before the playoffs start here. And again, Mike Evans limited is better than 75% of wide receivers at full strength. So if you put Mike Evans on your bench, don't be shocked if he catches 3 passes for 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's the way we're going here today with Mike Evans. We've seen it a million times, so it's just time to kind of recognize it and have some stones to just say it out loud here. So if Mike Evans is active, limited or not, he's going to be in my starting lineup here. And then when you look at the New York Jets side of things, there's literally nothing to like here. I was hoping Elijah Moore would play. I mentioned him bottom of the barrel just in case, but it doesn't look like he's going to go here. So we're left with like Zach Wilson and Michael Carter, Ty Johnson. In DFS formats, Michael Carter, he's a nice play. $5,700 on FanDuel, only $5,100 on DraftKings. The defensive matchup is tough. It's strong, but those are the kind of moves that you can make in the Millie Maker contest in some sort of big GPP where at his cost, you're looking at 30, 40 yards. And if he can find the end zone once, it's gravy. If Carter can find the end zone twice, you're on the moon. Do I see that happening? Probably not. I have Tampa Bay winning 31-10 here. It's a bloodbath. I would imagine we see who's backing Tom Brady up. Is it Chad Henne or Blaine Gabbert? Whoever's backing him up, we're going to see him in the fourth quarter as well. Tampa Bay wins big here. Make sure you start Mike Evans, please.
Yep, you and I see this score playing out very similarly. I've got it 32-10 in favor of the Buccaneers here, and you answered the question beautifully as you were rolling through that as well. So Ryan, just a summation there, it's Mike Evans. Mike Evans and then Mike Evans.
Well, really quick, I want to ask Ryan. Hopefully he's still listening. If you hear me, I'm going to ask you a question, and you respond back in the chat here. Now, could you live with losing if Mike Williams was in your starting roster, or could you live with yourself, Mike Evans going off on your bench and losing? It's which way you want to do it. Mike Evans was obviously Week 17. You throw out fantasy football draft capital, but if you wake up tomorrow, which one could you live with? Mike Evans kind of laying an egg on your starting roster and you lose, or Mike Evans going off on your bench and you still lose. So it's just one of those, you got to dig deep and ask yourself some of those philosophical questions here, Ryan.
Right. And you look at the other options there, Braxton Berrios, that is a very tough matchup there as well. So you're really trying to limit or really trying to bank your championship week here on can he return one for a touchdown against a good Tampa Bay team? Because quite frankly, I don't trust Zach Wilson and the pass catchers that are on the other side of that. Gabe Davis, I think that game's going to be a blowout, quick, fast, and in a hurry, and to the point where Buffalo, I think, quits taking deep shots down the field, which is where Gabe Davis makes all of his bread and butter there. So I'm right there with you. I think I'm going to take the shot on Mike Evans because it's what's more likely, Mike Evans to have one catch for 1 yard and a touchdown, or Braxton Berrios to put up 8-9 points, Gabe Davis to put up 8-9 points. I'm going to take the Mike Evans because I think he can outperform those guys with one catch for 1 yard type of thing. So I like it. I'm right there with you, Chris. Let's go ahead and head on over to my next matchup. We're going to go to sunny LA here where my hometown Denver Broncos are visiting the Chargers here. And this one here, I think I'm a little bit against the grain as far as what a lot of fantasy folks and a lot of NFL folks out there see this game going. The Chargers, the Broncos, when these two teams line up, they play each other incredibly tough every single time that they do it. The Broncos defense has been good, and for the most part, that Broncos defense has limited some high-scoring offenses to limited points all season long. And unfortunately, I think that the Broncos are going to, again, hold this Chargers offense to under 20 points, but the Broncos are going to lose when it's all said and done on this one. I see this one playing out about 17-13 in favor of the Chargers here. I'm still going to be starting my studs on the Chargers, right? I'm going to be playing Herbert. I'm going to be playing Keenan Allen. I'm going to be playing Eckler, of course, on that one. On the Denver Broncos side of things, this Denver Broncos offense is going to have a tough time moving the ball through the air, right? Drew Lock is playing quarterbacks, and we all know my thoughts on Drew Lock, if you've watched this show for any given point in time, that he is not the answer. But the Broncos receiving core was hit hard this week by some illness and some COVID there. Cortland Sutton just cleared last night, is traveling with the team to meet them out there. He's going to be able to go in this game here, but Jerry Jeudy is out. Tim Patrick is out. So you're relying on Drew Lock to try and thread the needle to Cortland Sutton. Noah Fant has a little bit of play here, but the Denver running backs, I absolutely love these Denver running backs this week. I think the Broncos are going to probably try and run the ball 30 to 35 times easily in this one. So a lot of workload to be had from both Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, where I think each one of those guys finds the end zone in this one here. And I see both of those guys with somewhere around about 80 yards on the ground here. So I like it. And unfortunately, I think that the Broncos are just going to come a little bit short as far as NFL goes, but low scoring affair. And I like a lot of matchups here. Any thoughts here?
Yeah, the play to me in this game, I mean, it's not off the map here, not outlandish. I mentioned it in Bottom of the Barrel weeks ago, and then in turn, I probably mentioned it on a broadcast here on a Sunday morning. But Javonte and Melvin Gordon, it's a fantastic combo to play in the same DFS entry. And I've been playing, not trying to be an egomaniac, but I've been playing DFS for since its inception here. And the number one rule all the way back then, and it still is now, people don't like to play two running backs from the same team in the same roster because they go, well, this guy's going to vulture from this guy, and I don't know. But hey, look, if you look back the last 5, heck, even 8 weeks, you can slice the workload literally down the middle. 10 carries for one, 10 carries for the other, and now it's just been bumped up. I could see a case here where each running back gets 15 total carries. You're saying they're going to want to run the ball. Absolutely. You have two very capable running backs. Javonte Williams is a wrecking ball. This guy will hammer you down and then stand over you and then still run for another 5 or 10 yards. And I never thought I'd say this, but to me, Melvin Gordon is like the shiftier back now. I mean, he's like a ballerina. I mean, so who would have thought that? Melvin Gordon was always been that in-your-face plotter guy, and now Javonte Williams makes him look like he's a dancing out there. It's crazy to me. So in this game, obviously both Denver running backs, and then you move on to the Chargers here. And LA was, how can I put this? They were embarrassed last week. They lost to the Houston Texans. I think they let Houston put up 40 plus points, if I'm not mistaken, Derek. So in a way, I think the Chargers, they're going to want to get right here. Their coach, Brandon Staley, is an outstanding man. I try and watch, all his press conferences because he's not like Bill Belichick. He doesn't sit there and grunt. I mean, he tells you some meaningful stuff based on what he saw that game here. So no doubt at all, Justin Herbert is a superstar. Their head coach is well on his way to being a superstar. They're going to have it figured out. Austin Eckler is going to be active and probably one of the better starting running backs in terms of week 17 here. You're looking at 10 carries, 4 or 5 receptions. I wouldn't be shocked to see Eckler score at least twice, one on the ground, one in the air, and then it's your choice with the wide receivers in terms of DFS. In seasonal formats, yeah, both Denver running backs. And in terms of the Chargers here, Herbert, Eckler, Keenan, Mike Williams, those dudes are all a start. You're not going to fade them in a championship game. The only issue here is Mike Williams started off hot after being a nobody all these seasons here. He's kind of come back down to earth. But you look at this Denver Broncos secondary, it's very ball hawkish, if that makes sense. They're 7th overall against opposing wide receivers here. So I would just double check before I set my lineups with Mike Williams. Is there anything a little bit more? Is there a little bit of an edge to be gained by anybody else in your roster over Mike Williams? If it's a quick no, then boom, you play Mike Williams, you link him up with Herbert, and we're good to go. I don't agree with you about the final score, but that's the beauty of what we're doing here. Probably wouldn't be fun if we just agreed all the time, and right. The broadcast would be 2 minutes here. But I think this one's a higher scoring affair. I think the Chargers win by about 10 points. I think the final is 31-21 here, so we're in for a treat in this game here.
Yeah, we'll see how that one plays out. Chris, where do you want to take us next?
Let's go. We'll catch a flight to where you are, and we'll just go a little bit north to San Francisco. The Houston Texans are playing at the Bay in San Francisco, and I'll say it one more time. I like the Patriots in Tampa Bay and now San Francisco. It couldn't be any easier than that. I've already booked a parlay in terms of that. So if anybody has a pen and paper, get that parlay, and I think $10 would net you. I'm thinking $45 because the odds are kind of not in your favor because they're all games are going to be blowouts here. But Houston at San Francisco. Houston has been, kind of exciting the last few weeks, and I think it has everything to do with Davis Mills. This kid has been good, all right? Let's just call it what it is here. He had a chance to start at the beginning of the season, not too much happened, and boom, 3 weeks ago, he's found himself in a way, and he's played good, and this will be back-to-back games here. And against the San Francisco 49ers, I think he has a chance to, at least put up 250 yards here, because I believe San Francisco, in terms of defending opposing quarterbacks here, they're about 20th, and there's going to be a little to no room here. But my saving grace is the fact that San Francisco, Trey Lance, Eli Mitchell, Bill Romanowski in the chat. I wonder if that's old timey, Oakland Raiders, or who did Bill Romanowski? Denver Broncos.
The Broncos, yeah.
The Broncos, yeah. So hi, Bill. Hopefully it's you. If not, you got a fantastic name. But when you look at what San Francisco can can do with their offense here. I think this one is going to be, and if I'm wrong here, I'm wrong here, but it's just a personal opinion, something I feel here where San Francisco, they're already in the playoffs. They're moving. They have, Super Bowl aspirations here. I think they're going to take Houston serious, but with Trey Lance at quarterback, I think they're going to look at another page of their offensive playbook, things they haven't been able to get to this season because they've been ripping and running here. So in a way, I think San Francisco and Shanahan open it up a little bit just to try and have a little bit of fun to see what works, what doesn't work as they're, progressing into the playoffs here. So I think that means Trey Lance is going to be, in a way, really fun to watch. They're not going to hold him back. We know the kid he's just dripping with prospectiveness, I should say. I don't know how to say it, but Trey Lance is going to get the run of the game here. Eli Mitchell going to be good. I love the idea of Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. I mean, you're going to start all your San Francisco 49ers, and in DFS formats, I'm going all in on them in hopes they just open it up and just lay waste to Houston, which I think they will. The Texans here, not much to like in this one. I'd be shocked if Houston scored more than 10 or 13 points, but I think there'll be plenty of yards to go around in here. In seasonal formats, the only guy I would even touch with a 10-foot pole is Brandon Cooks. This guy is just matchup proof, quarterback proof, team proof. It doesn't matter here. But in DFS circles, Davis Mills, Rex Burkhead, and Brandon Cooks might be a little three-headed trio combo I would look for, only in multi-entry GPPs here. So to me, San Francisco wins big 31-10, and that's just about it with this one.
Yeah, I see San Francisco scoring about 30 points there as well. I like everything that you're saying there. Let's go ahead and hop on another flight here, get over to Dallas, where the Arizona Cardinals are meeting up with the Dallas Cowboys. This one should be a very fun game, very interesting game to watch. I know that you and I see the score a little bit differently when it's all said and done. I've got Dallas 28-20 winning this game here, and I'm going to be playing my Cowboys. If you got him, you got to play him, right? I think Zeke takes a little bit bigger workload here in this one. The fact that this game is going to be closer, I think he has a better workload down the stretch. A lot of times what you'll see, what you've seen is Tony Pollard take over a lot in that second half because Dallas has been up big and winning. And I don't see that. I see this game staying closer, Zeke staying in there more snap percentage on this one here. The Cardinals have not looked great here, but I think that they're still able to put up enough points. I think you're going to see Kyler have a monstrous day here because I think he's going to have to run the ball a little bit here as well. So he's going to get some of that rushing floor and that rushing upside here with this one. But I like Dallas a lot in this one. I like what Dak is going to be able to do, what CD is going to be able to do, what Cooper is going to be able to do, like Schultz, all of these Dallas players. I am looking to play them if I've got them, especially down here into championship week. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, yeah, this one is going to be outstanding, and I like what you said about Zeke here. Normally, they mix and match in Pollard to give Zeke a breather in a game where they're either too far ahead or they don't see a case where they can make up the difference here. But again, Denver already won the division, already locked into a playoff spot. So in a way, this will be a good test because who's to say these two teams don't meet up again in the playoffs? Who's to say these two teams aren't playing each other for the NFC Championship? Granted, they'd have to go through Green Bay, but this is all within the realm of possibility here. And I think that Arizona hangs around 28 points. So you're looking at 4 touchdowns here. I firmly believe Kyler Murray will have his hand in every single touchdown that Arizona scores today, whether it's on the ground with his legs, whether it's in the air with his arm here. Yeah, and I'm also starting all Dallas Cowboys. I have them, 27 points or so. I think it's going to come down to like a 2-minute drill, even under that, like a minute left. And Dallas is driving, and they just can't get it done, which is fine. These two teams are on kind of a collision course to meet in the NFC playoffs. Granted, Arizona won 10 games in a row, and now they've lost 5 in a row, including one to my Detroit Lions. Just had to get that little dig in there, but this one's going to be great, and you're starting any and all players from both sides of this thing.
Yep. And Bill, I see your comments there. I actually like Schultz in this one. I think that he's going to have a very, very good game when it's all said and done. I see him just kind of having a really good one. I see him as an easy top 10 tight end this week.
I have Schultz, if you don't mind, quickly, Derek, but here, Romanowski, this is what I got Schultz for around 7 or 8 targets, 5 receptions. I think 6 would be a little ambitious, but well in the realm of possibility, 5-6 receptions. You're looking at, to me, in all honesty, a floor of like 45 or 50 yards, reception yardage here. And come to find out, Schultz averages about 10.6 yards a reception. So you do the math, 5-6 receptions, times it by 10, and bam, that's what you're going to get here. The kicker will be if he can find the end zone, and right now probably 70-30 he doesn't because of all the other options in play here, but Schultz is a very good move here.
Yep. And you're also saying that you're not overly excited starting St. Brown. I think St. Brown has a very good game. That Seattle Detroit game looking it to be I think he's going to get a ton of work when it's all said and done, even with Swift being back in this one. I've got St. Brown as a top 15 wide receiver this week.
Absolutely. Get this. I just uncovered this morning, and you can find it anywhere. But Amon-Ra St. Brown's target share is like nobody's ever seen a target share like this that I can remember. We probably have to go back to a few seasons ago with Jacoby Myers, where he was seeing like 34% of the target share, and that was insane here. But every time Amon-Ra sees 1 target every 3 passes in the Detroit Lions offense here. That is just unbelievably outstanding. So given the matchup here where they're in Seattle, you have to play Amon-Ra St. Brown. Kid's been on a heater, NFC Offensive Rookie of the Month. I know that stuff's like prom queen or homecoming king, but this kid's getting it done, and I believe the Lions have uncovered a gem long term, and I believe we've uncovered a gem short term, especially right now for our seasonal and DFS formats.
Yeah, you're not kidding, right? Like if you got a guy that can get double-digit targets, right? Like you look at Jalen Waddle, who everybody is very big on lately. Why are they very big on Jalen Williams? Or because Jalen Waddle, I'm sorry, because of the fact that he is getting double-digit targets in Miami. Same thing with St. Brown, right? Like you look, like you were just saying, 12 targets, 11 targets. Like he is getting a monster opportunity there. And so if I've got St. Brown, I am absolutely playing him in my championship week here, even on a Lions team that has not been good this season. I know that's I know that you're a big Lions fan there. So last question here, and then we're gonna sign out here and get rolling. This one over there on YouTube from Tanavir. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Renfro or DJ Moore?
This is a great question. I mean, I'll take it right off the bat. Both players are outstanding. And when you look at a kid like DJ Moore, we know his workload and volume is already set in stone. You know you can count on your watch that this kid's going to accumulate 1,300 or 1,400 yards at the end of the season. He gets a ton of targets, ton of receptions, but the only rub with DJ Moore over the years is the kid just doesn't score touchdowns. That's the only bummer here. And I figured he'd get over that hump this season, and he's still on pace for 1,400 yards and X amount of touchdown passes here. But Carolina heads to New Orleans, a very tough place to play, the Superdome here. Their defense is pretty good. They're very opportunistic. Marshawn Lattimore is there. I mean, he's got Tom Brady's number, so you can only imagine what he's going to do with who's playing quarterback for Carolina, probably Sam Darnold. But it doesn't matter. DJ Moore is going to get his. And when you look at Hunter Renfro, Vegas playing in Indianapolis, I hate to say it, Tavari Rai, I'll just call you TR here if you don't mind, but Vegas has a very tough task ahead of them in Indianapolis. Talk about a studly, opportunistic, ball-hawking offense or defense here. Darius Leonard is going to be all over the field, and when you look at Hunter Renfro, he makes his hay right in the middle of the field, in between the numbers. He doesn't take too many deep shots, deep routes, so I could see a case where, not kidding, maybe I'm crazy, but Darius Leonard will be all around Hunter Renfro today, and that scares me because Darius Leonard is an absolute stud. He will strip the ball, he will take the ball, he will throw you down and go to the end zone and then go home and sleep in your bed. Darius Leonard does not care about you. So to me, it's all about DJ Moore. There's already kind of a built-in target share there, so I'm willing to take the risk with DJ Moore over Hunter Renfro, because in a way, Hunter Renfro can just disappear from a game, especially in this one with so many other parts moving here. And to be fair, Carolina's got one game in town without Christian McCaffrey. It's DJ Moore.
Yeah, I could I can certainly see where you're going with that. I've got a little bit different opinion on that one there. I probably would roll with Hunter Renfro over DJ Moore here. And for anybody that's listened to me go for a long time knows that I am a DJ Moore truther and on the DJ Moore fan bandwagon, as well as the good old boys in general are. But in this one here, right, like DJ Moore will see target share. So I will agree with you that he is going to get probably 10, 11, 12 targets in this thing. Like, not going to surprise me when I look up and I see that stat line. The problem is that you got Sam Darnold and or Cam Newton that's going to be throwing that ball to him, because it's not going to surprise me if we see Matt Rule head to the bullpen to bring Cam Newton into this game. The problem is that while he gets that kind of target share, the catchable balls that he sees are closer to 5 or 6 of those like 12 targets. So, and generally he brings those things in. So one of those that I think that what you're going to see from DJ Moore is somewhere around about 5 receptions, 54 yards is how I had that projected out. I don't see him getting into the end zone on this one. Hunter Renfro, I think that with Darren Waller being out, even with, that being the case, I think they're going to have to try and play catch up here a little bit down the stretch in the second half. So I think that you're going to see Hunter Renfro somewhere around about 10 targets. I think he brings in about 6 of those for right around 60 yards when it's all said and done, but I don't think he finds the end zone either. So both of these guys really close, but in my own rankings, I had Renfro slightly above DJ Moore. But DJ Moore is definitely the one-touch type of guy, big play guy that could break one off.
How dare you go against me and DJ Moore? How dare you?
Oh, like I said, I'm a DJ Moore truther, and it's been hard riding that train a little bit. Several seasons I've had him top 10 going into draft prospects and just hasn't panned out. But
to be honest with you, I know this is, it's the new year, it's January 2nd, and this season is still going, but there's a lot of situations that I'm excited about, heading into the offseason, free agency, and the draft here. Can you imagine DJ Moore with a young stud quarterback or a quarterback that can move in Pittsburgh? Same thing in Washington with Terry McLaurin. So there's a lot of moving parts here, and the possibilities are endless, and I'm excited for next season. Not saying I'm burned out this year, but it's always good to kind of look forward and look something to keep the hopes up, to keep the attitude nice.
I like it. And I like Bill's comment here as well. Appreciate the comment. Let's get a win. Absolutely. Let's go win. It is championship week. Chris, any final thoughts for the listeners and viewers out there?
No, just rest, relax. I know I said it's the new year here, so we can only do so much. I know a lot of folks, they place such high importance on a resolution, but when you say that, I this is what I want to do in the new year, you're already at a disadvantage because you're already set yourself up for failure. So just do what you can, be in peace. We have a new year coming. Hopefully we get a little bit more of a change than the last year. Betty White is gone. It stinks. COVID is still running rampant. It's getting worse. So we can only do so much. So just hang home, be tight, and just watch some football. Throw on a fire in the fireplace and go from there.
I like it. I like it a lot. Guys, he is Chris at Detroit Beastie on Twitter. Make sure you give him a follow. Very, very good content. And not all of it fantasy football. One of the best things that I like about following your account is the fact that there's always some sort of like positive message. There's always some uplifting message there, and seeing those things constantly, puts a smile on my face when I come across those. So
thank you.
Just wanted to say thank you on that one. You can also find his content over at Team Rise or Fall. The bottom of the barrel has helped me tremendously with my own DFS play. So again, want to say thank you on that one there as well. But he's Chris. I'm Derek. Have a good one. Be safe. Do us a favor. Log on to YouTube. Click the subscribe. Ring the button. Have a good one, y'all.